Andreas Giorgio here for MMA Plus in the build-up to Glory 25 Milan. Now joined by Josh Jauncey, who's going to be facing Giorgio Petrosyan in one of the feature bouts at Glory 25. First, got to ask you how you're doing. Looks like you had a great weight cut. So, how are you feeling after that?
Yeah, I feel great. My weight cut's always pretty easy. I lose weight very easily. No, I feel great. I've eaten, I've slept. I'm feeling good. Just looking forward for my next meal.
I mentioned Giorgio Petrosyan. I saw a smirk on your face there. It's such a huge fighting a legend in Italy. When it first got announced, what were your reactions to that? Because I know how much you want to progress up the ladder, but with a name such as Petrosyan, you're indefinitely going to go in there as the underdog.
Yeah. That's and it's bound to happen. It's bound to happen in every fighter's career where he takes that step to the next level, and and you're always going to be the underdog in that situation. But he's already hit his prime. He's been through it. He was great, all that. But he's on the decline, and I'm on the way to my prime. So this is perfect timing for me. He's not so past his prime that people will dismiss him when I beat him, and he's still he's still fit enough that when I beat him, it means something, and I will beat him, and that will be tomorrow.
I mean, when he fought Risti and he lost in New York, that was the talk at that point, that he was a pound-for-pound number one in the world. Risti knocked him out. He kind of took some time out. He had some hand injuries as well. We've seen him a little bit this year fighting on Octagon and various shows. How do you think he's looked since coming back? Does it still look like the same Giorgio Petrosyan?
He's not the same one. He's not the same Petrosyan. He's still very good, of course, and he's still nearly untouchable by those guys. But he nearly untouchable. There's guys like Zhu Yan. I don't know who Zhu Yan is, and he touched Petrosyan. He's not quite what he once was. He's still mostly there, but not fully. And this is a nice time to take advantage of that.
We'll talk more about your build-up in a second, but Glory 22, Leo, we spoke then. You were very confident going into that contender tournament. Won the first round. You fell to a very experienced and kind of aggressive tie-in Sitichai Sitsompinong in the final. Just your thoughts, because you looked very frustrated in that finale. Was there any injuries, anything niggling you?
There was a couple. Well, yeah, there's a little bit of injury from the first fight, but it's a tournament. It's expected. It was mostly just trying to get past get through his timing, understand the timing and the kick. The kick wasn't that. It was hard, but it wasn't super. It wasn't so hard that that was bothering me. It wasn't the pain or anything that was bothering me. It was just the timing that bothered me. But I didn't get a chance to train for him. I didn't train with any Thais or any Thai-style guys training for that fight. I was only preparing for Larson. That fight didn't even happen.
Yeah.
So. That's it. Everyone always talking about how hard his kicks are. His kicks aren't that hard. Yeah. It's just he's got good timing. But there's definitely ways around that. And had I trained for it and had I focused on that more, it would have been a much easier fight.
With it being in the tournament and factoring your age as well, does the loss kind of mean a little less than it maybe would have, say, you fought Sitichai in the prime of your career in a world championship match?
It doesn't mean less, because a loss to me is always devastating. I really, really, really hate losing. It's horrible for me. I find there's never an excuse for losing. However, he does have a lot of experience on me. He is only a year older than me, but he has a lot of experience on me. But I would have done better. Sure, I would have done better a little bit further down with it. Maybe had I fought a Thai before. It was my first time fighting a Thai, and it wasn't just a Thai. It was one of the best Thais at the moment. So, if I had a chance to maybe train a little bit in Thailand or even spar with more Thais, it would have been a much easier fight.
I've been following you ever since, you burst onto the glory scene. Always been impressive. I've got to ask you now, what does Josh Jauncey have to do to get rid of that prospect tag and finally be, realised as one of these guys that is a legitimate threat in the division and is someone that's going to be here to stay?
Yeah, I sort of just noticed that as well. It's still rising star, all that kind of stuff. I think this will do it. It's better do it. When I beat Petrosyan, I'm not rising anymore. I'm there. That's fine. I'm fine seeing that, seeing prospect and rising star, because now these veterans are getting beat by a prospect and a rising star, and that's funny to me. Yeah, that's yeah. So that's okay. It still means I'm young and I'm beating the guys when I shouldn't be, and I like that.
If you beat Petrosyan, I mean, what kind of factors do you have to factor in? We know his boxing's very good, and how can you counteract that?
We've found ways. We've found people with better boxing to spar with. We've found better southpaws. We've found more frustrating southpaws. I've trained with very good people for this fight. I've brought in some of the best friend from Holland, and I've spent a lot of money on this training camp thanks to my sponsors like Trueline Power and Fred Thompson Contractors. They've helped me really, really, really helped me with this. Otherwise, it would have been very difficult to prepare for Petrosyan. He's not an easy guy to prepare for. There's no doubt about it. But the thing is, what's nice about preparing for him is that he doesn't have a huge arsenal. He has a few things he does very, very well. And so because of that, it was easy to work with.
The crowd on Friday night, obviously going to be in the favor of the hometown man in Giorgio Petrosyan. Do you kind of relish that a little bit? You're going to be the villain or the heel, as some would say, going in to Glory 25.
Yeah, of course. I really like that. I love that. It's funny. For me, I can work with either way. I can work with a crowd that's for me, or it's a crowd for him. It doesn't matter to me. If it's for me, great. I've got everyone's support. If it's against me, it's even better. Now I can embarrass him in front of everyone, and that's funny to me as well. So I like it.
And obviously, to finish up, it's not a contender tournament, but we presume with your caliber and Giorgio's caliber that the winner of this fight is going to face the winner of Robin van Roosmalen versus Sitixas Iswambinong. You think that's a given?
I think it should be. If I beat Petrosyan, none of those guys have beat Petrosyan. I know Siddichai hasn't fought him, but I don't see Siddichai beating Giorgio. Robin hasn't beat Giorgio. If I beat Giorgio, I should be the best. I should be considered the best. And I should definitely go for the belt after that.
What did you think about Robin actually picking you to beat Giorgio on Friday?
I appreciate it. Robin's a really nice guy, and we get along. It's nice to see that. He's obviously, he saw me doing pads the other day. We know a lot of the same people, and maybe he had some things from some of my training partners that I had brought over from Holland that I'm looking pretty good, because he knows something. He knows what I know.